Hello everybody, and welcome to another Monster Hunter video. Hope you guys are doing well tonight. My name's Ristretto, and today we've got a bit of a ramble. Today's going to be a check-in to see how we've been progressing through the game and kind of describe my impressions of the game as we go. Last time I did this was Hub 1-star and Village 3-star. I've now completed all of Village 4-star and Hub 2-star, and so I wanted to take a moment to check in here and give you guys some more impressions of Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate. You'll have to excuse me, I was a little bit sick over the last week or so, and so my voice is still a little bit weak, might be a bit scratchy. I might have to mute myself at a certain point or two and cough it out, but bear with me and we'll still talk about this. I've been meaning to record this video for like a week now, but I've been too sick, so time to actually finally do it. So to start off, I just want to show you guys my guild card and how many hours I've played. When we checked in last, I think I had something like 30 hours on this file. Now, I have a little more than that. About 116 hours in the file, and here's the guild card. So you can see things are looking, I don't know, things are looking okay. Most of the weapons are getting up into the 20s. There's a few like gun lance, charge blade, insect wave, heavy bowgun, bow, where I need to get that number up there. Light bowgun is actually not my most popular. Like I haven't done that many quests or that many hunts with light bowgun, but it's what I'm using for my gathering set a lot of the time, and so it's up there as the king, at least for now. Alright, let's see. I did want to show you guys what quests I've completed. I've done pretty much everything, including the Prowler quests. I've unlocked my Urgent to the next rank. But we've done pretty much all the quests, all the requests. If we look in the Hunter's Notes, there's nothing left in my request log to do. Same thing if we run off to the hub. Feels good to do that. Yep, feels good to have finished everything up. All of it. Alright, I guess at first I wanted to just give you guys some impressions of monsters. Before we dive in, this is going to be kind of a rambly, yapping video, so buckle up if you want to stick around for that. If we have enough time, I'll do a hunt at the end, but if this just takes forever for me to describe my thoughts, then we'll just call it a rambling video and we'll leave it at that. I think my first impression of coming into 2-star Hub and 4-star Village, especially 2-star Hub, was that this is where they start to ratchet up the damage in the game, where a few of the monsters in this rank, like Nargacuga, Blangonga, he's the Urgent, and Siennatar, kind of took me by surprise at first, where I hadn't upgraded my gear yet, and so I was still wearing the early Jaggy mixed set that we'd been using over the first couple ranks, kind of a basic Jaggy mix set. I haven't used any armor spheres on my armor yet, so the defense is still pretty low, and a few of these guys kind of took me by surprise. As the rank went on and I was able to upgrade my gear and make better armor sets, that did get a little better, so I didn't really feel that way by the end of the rank as much, and plus on top of that, I'd gotten used to fighting the monsters again. Some of these monsters, it had been a few years since I last fought them or last hunted them, and so it was nice to get used to their hunts again, and it was nice to also get a little bit better gear. Notch a little bit higher up the totem pole of gear in this game. Let's see. Blangonga was especially aggressive. He... Excuse me. We might have to do that a few times. Blangonga moves around so much more than most of the other monsters that you've fought so far to this point. Like, he's as jumpy as a drome, but he's even faster, and he really swings and hits you quite a lot, so I did find him a little bit tricky to keep up with at first. He was one of my first walls when I first started playing Monster Hunter, and so it was kind of fun to be like, wow, it actually is kind of tricky to keep up with him all over again. But we got him down. Nargacuga, I felt like was in a pretty good spot in this game, to be honest. I think there were a few years after I played Monster Hunter Freedom Unite where I felt like Generations and Generations Ultimate's Nargacuga was like wimpy, but I don't know, it didn't seem wimpy. It's a little weird hunting a monster like this in low rank. In Freedom Unite, that this monster is introduced in, I think it's G rank, or at least the end of high rank. Probably G rank, actually. G rank flagship. So it's always a little bit weird fighting a low rank version where it's a little bit slower. Some of its patterns don't link to each other as quickly or aggressively, but I had a good time hunting Nargacuga. Made a few of its weapons, which we'll get to a little later on here, but I enjoyed myself overall. It hops around a lot. You can practice your iframes, practice your iframe through the roar. Just a good time. Siennatar is another one of my favorites, who also, like I said, took me a little bit by surprise here, just with how much damage he can put out. And once he rages, how absolutely no holds barred he is. Where Nargacuga, it's like, oh, it's a little bit slower. When Siennatar is raged, it doesn't really seem to matter what rank it's in. It's just mean. It's very fast and very mean. I can't remember if I tripled to it or not. I may have, but I certainly carded to it once or twice. This is a fun hunt, to be sure. One of my favorites across the series, so it's fun to have some of my favorite hunts sprinkled even this early into this game. So many good hunts across this game. I'm excited to keep going. Let's see. Malfestio is a real highlight, I think. You hunt it pretty early into both. I think it's the Urgent and Village to this rank, and so it's definitely when you hunt pretty early into this part of the game. I really enjoyed it. It's not super aggressive, not super dangerous, but it's just so unique. When I was thinking about it just now before I started recording, all of 4th generation's monsters have kind of a specific feel to them, where monsters in 1st and 2nd gen are kind of janky and they have kind of lower production values overall, if that makes sense. That doesn't mean they're bad, but it just means they're kind of simpler feeling. Once you get to 3rd gen and 4th gen, it feels like the production values on the animation and the concepts and the overall designs just kind of went up, the creativity and the production value overall, if that makes sense. But even between Monster Hunter 4 and 4 Ultimate and Generations Ultimate, they do feel a little different. Like, I think 4 Ultimate's designs feel sort of very nature-based and very grounded and down-to-earth, sort of like how Monster Hunter World's designs did. Granted, there's kind of a big difference between 4U's grounded and World's grounded, but sort of similar to one another. Generations' unique designs, all kind of all new designs, like Malfestio and Great Macau, and then the Fated 4 coming up. They're a little more whimsical, a little more out there, and so this like blue confusion owl is very delightful. It's a good hunt. I did end up making its full set. We'll get to that a little later on. I'm going to show off all the gear I made, but this is the one full set I've made so far in the game, I think. It was enjoyable to farm it up. We'll get to what it gives skills-wise later on, but this was just, it was fun to hunt Malfestio and make this set. I mentioned this in one of the other videos from this past part of the game, but one of the trailer, or like the cinematics for Monster Hunter Generations, has one of the hunters in full Malfestio armor, and so it was fun to make that here too. One I was surprised to find here is Yan Garuga. To me, he seems like he's a little bit of a later monster, but I guess not in this game, and so it was kind of refreshing. In our video where we hunted him, I described him as kind of like a nice, upgraded, more aggressive version of the Kutku hunt, which of course he kind of is, but he felt like he was a really nice way to stretch your legs this early in the game, where some other monsters in this rank, like Malfestio, aren't quite as aggressive as Yan Garuga can be with his roars and his attack where he comes at you with his tail and some of his pecs, and if you get hit by some of that stuff, you get poisoned. Like, it's just, yeah, it's good stuff. I really enjoyed this hunt. This might have been my favorite hunt of this rank, which is kind of hard because, I mean, Malfestio is fun, Narga's a classic, Siennatar is just a really fun hunt, but Garuga I think might be my favorite. Najarala is one that feels kind of like an odd one out, where he's very unique. Like I mentioned, 4th generation monsters kind of are very unique, creative designs, but he felt kind of like he was sort of slow and he didn't have a ton of damage, and so he wasn't super threatening to me in this rank. Still kind of fun to see him and go like, man, that's a unique monster. They have not done anything else like that really, and they really haven't, so he was fun to hunt. After that, you have monsters like Rathian and Volvidon. They're just kind of there. They're not super challenging, they're not super out there, but it's nice to see them. Especially with Rathian, knowing that we have more scary versions of Rathian later on, both for Deviant and Gold Rathian. It's just kind of fun to fight. A good classic hunt. A little more complicated or a little more interesting than some of the monsters that came before. More interesting than your Royal Ludroths, your Arzuros, your Lugambis, that kind of thing. So, just fun. This was also the first rank where I took on my first Deviant, the Stonefist Hermitar. Did a couple videos on that. That was a really interesting hunt to start off the Deviant system with, I think. I would almost describe him as a gimmick hunt, because in order to deal good damage and kind of break his claw, his big Deviant part, you really have to either be mount spamming or using items almost constantly with the sonic bombs. So sort of like a gimmick hunt. Like if this monster was a boss in like Elden Ring and you had to use an item over and over to deal damage, I would call that a gimmick hunt. And so he almost is that. I also thought it was really interesting, or I guess I didn't really mind that he was a gimmick hunt, to be honest, because there's still, this being Monster Hunter, there's still ways to actually get it done. You can actually stay underneath him and hit his soft under regions until he dies, and it was pretty difficult to do that with Sword and Shield, but I still enjoyed myself. And then I did enjoy running it back with Switch Axe as well to get a better clear on him. As I mentioned in some of my other videos where we were hunting him, I did like that it kind of reminded me of some of the hunts earlier in the series where some weapons are just going to have a rough time against him, and there's not a ton you can do about that. Now, this game does give you lots of tools, like aerial style or adept style or valor style, whatever, where you could be a lot more safe or a lot more aggressive on him. Get a little more access to his hit zones, even if you are a short little weapon like sword and shield or dual blades. But I found it neat that there is a monster that's so restrictive, so difficult to deal damage to. Monsters in the old games were a lot less afraid of being difficult for certain weapons entirely, and so I thought it was neat to see that they were able to take advantage of that or bring back that dynamic for this particular hunt. I'm pretty excited to take on my next Deviant. I'm not sure which one it's going to be yet, but I'll take on another one soon, and I'm curious to see if they all feel sort of like that or if they all have a different vibe to them. We shall see soon. The last thing to note about the quests is that this is kind of the first rank where it was like, all right, GU, we get it. I'll go out and I'll hunt 2 Royal Ludroth, even though I've already hunted many Royal Ludroth this playthrough. I'll go out and I'll hunt 2 Arzuros, even though I've already hunted many Arzuros this playthrough. So this was the first rank where I felt a little bit of like, what did I say here? It felt a little excessive, the number of quests that they had you do and some of the quest goals where it's like, we've already hunted, if you're playing both Village and Hub, you've already hunted at least 2 Arzuros. I've hunted a lot more than that, but now it's like, go hunt 2 more. I know that that's just scratching the surface too, where it's going to be even more as we go through the game. So I just wanted to take a note of that some of the quests felt a little bit arduous or a little bit excessive, but I spaced them out over quite a few hours, as you can see, and so I still had a good time. All right, that's the quests. Those are my impressions of the monsters. The next thing I want to do is we're going to run over to the prep area. I want to show you guys the gear I made, some of the weapons and some of the armor. And I want to start by prefacing this and saying, this is kind of ridiculous. I definitely didn't need to collect all this gear, but this is just how I enjoy Monster Hunter. I really like stretching out some of the ranks to complete all the quests, to make some of the strongest equipment available at that rank, or some of the most interesting equipment available at that rank, both so I get to enjoy the different weapon designs, but also just to give me more excuses to go out and hunt the monsters. If you're going out to hunt the monsters and collect a bunch of gear, it means you got to use more weapons and do more hunts, and just, you get a lot more game. I really enjoyed myself. So I'm actually going to go through here, and we're just going to show all the weapons I made. Let's see, what did I make? I think last rank I made the red stripe, which is the Hermitar greatsword. I didn't really do too much with that. Azure Serpent Blade, same deal. I don't think I upgraded that. We did do some mining, which I'll touch on a little later. And so we have the rusted greatsword that we'll be able to upgrade later on into something else. The Lara Saber, I think, is what we were using for our gathering set at the end of last rank. And it looks like for now I've only made 1 more greatsword. I didn't do a lot of different design collecting for greatsword. I made the Centauriu Raven, which is the Garuga greatsword. Garuga's stuff seems to be some of the strongest weapons you can make right now. Really up there in terms of raw for this point in the game, around that 120 mark. Good green and good affinity, just good stuff. For longsword, let's see, I made the Eager Cleaver. I'm not sure if I had that last rank. I also made the Black Katana. It really isn't that strong in this game, but I just love this design so much. It's one of my favorites in the entire series. I love how shiny it is. I can't help myself. This early Hornitar weapons, this one and the dual blades as well, just some of my favorites. And then, similarly to Greatsword, I also made the Dido Crow, which is the Garuga longsword. I did make quite a few sword and shields. Also got the tarnished sword and shield, the rusted sword and shield. We should be able to upgrade that very soon. As soon as we get lava nuggets from Uragan, I'll be able to upgrade this into a sword and shield that has really good dragon output, which might help with some of the monsters we take on in the next rank. I also made Frost Edge. This design is always fun to make, so pretty. I made Secta Nulo Red for its fire element. I made the Kezu Razor, which is the sword and shield we initially tried to take on Daimyo Hermitar with. Didn't go super well. Ended up having to switch to a different one. I made the Dual Carapace. Such a cool design, this one. I love that the sword and shield unfurls like a Sanitar claw when you take it out, when you draw the weapon. And we did make Hidden Edge. I didn't make very many of the Nargacuga weapons, but I did make this one. Love me the Hidden Edge. Also made the Princess Rapier, Rathian Sword and Shield. For dual blades, we have the Petrified Daggers, which are still quite good with all that green sharpness. I also made Snow Venom. I may have done that last rank. Not very good dual blades overall, but just kind of a weird design. They're like giant velocidrome, or not velocidrome, sorry. Iodrome and Geodrome claws. They do make some funny noises when you draw them and use them in a fight. Also made the Snow Slicers. These are just a classic. I've made these in most of the games where they appear in. Early ice element, good green, good raw. Kezu daggers are a cool design, not super great in terms of sharpness and element because they're a split between element and status, but kind of cool. It's nice this early in the game to get to kind of try those out and see how that feels. Type 51 macerators, good for water. Also had to make the Sworn Rapiers. Not very good for water, not very good sharpness, but they're just so cool looking. How can you not make these? Also made the Blaze Blades. If I remember correctly, these took a bit to track down the materials for. I forget why. Maybe they took like Bumble Pumpkins? No, they didn't take Bumble Pumpkins. I can't remember why these took a bit to make. But these ones are nice and strong. 120 raw, good green sharpness. I guess they have negative affinity, but it's not so bad. Pardon me, had to cough again. For hammers, I really only made the Calamitous Portent, which is a pretty cool design. I don't remember this design before making it in this game. I don't think I've ever made it before. But it looks pretty cool and spiky. It's got a little bit of green, it's got 100 raw, and it's got some poison and affinity. It's just kind of cool. Killed a lot of Remobra to make this. Hunting Horn I also didn't make a lot of. There just aren't a ton that feel like a good choice right now. I made the Yukumo Flute to heal people in multiplayer, and then I made the Petrified Horn level 5, and that's kind of it for now. Womp womp. For Lance, let's see. Made the Spiked Spear in preparation for it turning into a really strong weapon very soon. It gets really high raw and good green, I think in its next upgrade. Made the Drill Lance for Thunder Element. I zoom out a little bit more. Oh, we can't zoom out anymore. That's as far as it goes. Made Estoc Lance, which I don't remember this design at all, but man, is it cool. It's like a big old rapier. Super cool looking. Maybe I should get some less big armor as we're trying these out. 1 second here. We're on a gathering set. Make it a little easier to see things. Gave one of the ones away there. We made the Fondue Lance. Made this less for its fire element and more because it has 3 slots, and so it was good for our gathering set to get gathering +2. It's a fun design. Although I did end up using light bowgun more for gathering. Made the Type 43 Dragon Lance. I have never made this design. It is hideous. I'm not a fan of how this looks at all, but decent water for this part of the game, some extra defense, okay sharpness, hard to beat. We made Hidden Stinger. Also quite a nice lance for this point in the game. Tons of green, good affinity, 100 raw. We made Blue Crater for ice. Very little ice. And I also made the Incessant Raven. Kind of a weird design, to be honest with you. Alright. For Gun Lance, I made Fiore Nulo Red. I don't think I've used this one at all yet. But Fire-type Gun Lance with some normal shot. Made the Lagomberator. Again, just like the Dual Blades, I feel like I've made this one in just about every game it appears in. It's just a good one. Type 62 Stormlance. I do actually like this design pretty well. I think it looks cool. Really fits with Gun Lance to have just like a giant gun on your lance. Made the Hidden Gun Lance as well. This is another one where I'm like, this is just a weird design. I don't know how I feel about this one. But we did make it. For Switch Axe, I made the Petrified Axe level 5, and I made the Shredder. We used the Shredder on Stonefist Hermitar. And it did help with a little bit of its thunder element. For Charge Blade, really just made Blackguard. There aren't as many low-rank Charge Blade and Insect Wave designs that I'm a fan of, so I didn't make very many of either of them. Insect Wave, I really just made... I guess I made War Dance Cudgel. Can't remember why I made this. Maybe I was going to try and upgrade into something, and then I didn't. I've never used this. Really just used the Petrified Rod. For Light Bowgun, let's see. I made Quillburst and Yukumo Light Bowgun last rank, I think for Rapid Fire Pierce, and then for Poison Shot specifically. Since then, I've made the Kezu Syringe. Made the Royal Launcher. Made the tail sting. This one in specific I've actually been very happy with. It has a 9 clip of normal 2, and then it has, what is it called? Inbuilt or like internal shot of demon shot and armor shot. Makes it a super easy, like, go on a hunt and multiplayer kind of gun. Just go out with your team, use normal 2, fire at the monster, heal people up with recovery shot, shoot armor and demon shot at them at the beginning of each area. Just really nice, very cozy. Made the hidden eye for rapid pierce. Made the Eldra musket, which is kind of an explosive gun, but I specifically made it for its triple slots, which was helpful for our gathering set. And we also made the Valkyrie fire. Haven't really used this one that much yet, but did make it. For heavy bowgun, basically just made the bite blaster. Oh, I was supposed to make the Nargacuga one. I guess I forgot to do that. Whoops. Might have to do that soon. Might actually do that right now. Let me see if I can. I think the Nargacuga one was supposed to be an upgrade off of the Lagambi gun. Did I make the Lagambi gun? I sure didn't. You can see I was looking all these up. There we go, Hidden Gambit. And there you go. Now we have the Hidden Gambit. These two are the ones we chose basically for siege firing normal shot and siege firing pierce. So normal shot on the Najarala gun and pierce on the Nargacuga gun. Haven't done too much heavy bow gunning, just a little bit so far. Done a lot more light bow gunning. Also haven't done a whole lot of bow. I meant to make bows, but I never really got around to it yet, in part because there wasn't a fun way to make a focus set at this point in the game, so I just sort of didn't play lots of bow. Hopefully next rank we'll be able to fit focus onto a set a little easier, and maybe there'll be more bows that feel like they're worthwhile to collect. Alright, that's pretty much all the weapons. I know it's a lot. Next I want to show off the sets I made. I made more sets than I thought I was going to. I think when I last left you guys, or last showed things off, we were basically just using our Jaggy sets, which looked like this. These sets, let's see. These sets gave Gathering +2, Attack Up Small, and Speed Sharpening, and Attack Up Small, Combo Pro, and Gathering +1. Since then, like I said, we made the full Malfestio set, which as I have it set up, gives Negate Sleep, Weakness Exploit, and then Herbology. You can also gem in things like Sonorous with a Sonorous or Hunting Horn Talisman. Man, what's the other name for Sonorous? I can't remember right now. Meh. Can gem that in, can gem in Herbology, can gem in Mounting Master, but I'll go over my talismans in a minute. Also made a Razor Sharp set for helping out weapons like Lance and Dual Blades and Sword and Shield. It's a mixture of Sanitar, Scalda, Sanitar, Nargacuga, and Banabra. It gives Speed Sharpening, Razor Sharp, Critical Eye, and Mounting Master. The Mounting Master is from the Talisman. It's a Mounting Master +10 Talisman. Made a low rank guard set. Oh, I should show off what the Razor Sharp set looked like. One sec. Looks like this. Kind of funky, but like at least everything's in the same general color tone. I've seen worse. Made a guard set for the early guard weapons, especially Gun Lance and Charge Blade. It gives Speed Sharpening, Guard +1, and Artillery Novice. Looks like this. Kind of a nice mix of Io Prey and Battle. I think it has Hermitar for the Greaves as well. Nice red armor pieces. And then last but not least, I made another gunning set, which is Crit Eye 2, Herbology, and Combo Pro. This is kind of supposed to be the counterpart, the counterpart to our Razor Sharp set. So this is a gunning set to kind of match that Blade Master set. I quite like how this one turned out. The matching Jaggy arms and boots, I think, are kind of fun. So that's what I've made so far, armor set wise. Something I did that you might be able to pick up on here is I did a lot of mining. I just really like going on gathering quests, way more than like is needed for this point in the game. I did try and gather a lot of Dragonite ore and Hercudromes. You get access to the volcano at this point in the game, so those upgrade materials really start to let you get some decent weapons and some decent gear. But you really don't have to mine as much as I did. I did a lot of mining runs, both just because I wanted to see what low rank charms were like, and because I wanted to just enjoy myself. It's kind of cozy getting to go out and gather like that. Let's see, where are some of the standouts? I got a few like plus 10 natural skills, some stuff like heat res. Let's see what else. Mounting plus 10, gathering plus 10. They give you that one. I think those might be the only ones. No, yeah. But some of the other ones that have been useful are, let's see, I got an artillery plus 6. I got a maestro plus 6. I can't remember if I used this expert one, but expert plus 3. I got an attack plus 4, I think. I got a couple of attack plus 4s. We can get rid of one of those. Well, let's see. What else have I used? I've also used the botany, the herbology plus 8. I like herbology as a skill, and so it was nice to be able to use that in some of my sets. Oh yeah, whim plus 10. I got whim plus 10 as well. So quite a few like kind of nice talismans for early in the game. Nothing jaw-dropping, nothing like, oh my gosh, attack a medium on one talisman, nothing like that. It's probably not possible anyways. But felt fun to get these and kind of have a little bit more choice in terms of what we could build at this point in the game. Pardon me, I had to cough there. So, that's what we've collected so far. Collected quite a few talismans, collected a lot of gear. Other cozy things besides mining, I've actually done some multiplayer. I don't usually play much multiplayer. It's not like I dislike it, but I really do like soloing Monster Hunter the most, especially if I'm like trying things out or still learning a hunt. I don't want to learn it through multiplayer with like the monster spazzing out and going after people's cats. I'll generally want to learn it where I can kind of really focus on having it attack me the whole time and seeing how it moves around and what moves it has, depending on what distance this is at and when it's raged and when it's exhausted. Like just, I like being able to study it in solo first before going and then doing it in multiplayer or doing it outside of my normal playstyle. But I've actually been doing some multiplayer, like I mentioned. I've done a little bit of multiplayer with my friend Marth's Tip via emulator multiplayer. Done a little bit of multiplayer with my wife, Annie. She started a little character playthrough here with me. She's still pretty early on, but we've been doing some early hunts and making her her first armor set, and so that's been fun. And then something I really wouldn't have expected is I've actually been doing kind of just random hub multiplayer. The way the latest Ryujinx Canary emulator multiplayer builds work, you can actually do online multiplayer, and so I've been keeping my eye out for early game hubs and jumping in to help people if they are doing some early game hunting, and that's been pretty fun. I did that a lot back when I first played Monster Hunter Generations back in the day. Then I needed a lot of help myself, and so it was nice to jump in turn rooms and do all kinds of hunting. Really go on hunts I had no business soloing by myself, but in multiplayer I could squeak through and do them. Haven't been doing that here, not really, but it's been fun to jump in and help people. And it kind of feels like it feels like when, like, let's say you're bored and you're not ready to move on to the next rank of the game yet, you're not rushing through, but you don't really feel like grinding up more weapons, or I don't know, you don't feel like doing those double Arzuros quests or whatever. It's nice to be able to just go on a little adventure with a group of strangers and help them out with something. You never really know like what gear they're going to bring or what hunts they're going to go on, and so it's kind of fun. I haven't had that feeling in a long time, and so it's been enjoyable to do. Excuse me. Lastly, I've also been checking out the cats. My last couple of videos have been on the cats. Finally put a little more time into understanding the Prowler and Palico system in this game. I don't understand all of it yet. Oh, my Palico's training right now. Anyways. But I put a little more time into that. Kind of understood the basics of the support skills, the support moves and the Palico or the Prowler skills. It's nice to learn that, get a little more used to it. It's nice to kind of get used to the actual movement controls when you're playing as the cat. It feels like learning a whole new weapon all over again, and I actually really enjoy that feeling. So that's been quite enjoyable, pretty fun. Big G commented on the last video saying it would be neat to see me put that weapon or that Prowler gameplay into the mix with the rest of our weapons, and I agree. It'll be fun to kind of try that out every handful of hunts, say, what would this be like with a cat? We'll see. My Prowler is training up right now, so it hopefully has a little bit better damage. It'll be a little more on par with our weapons, or at least a little closer. So, going forward, it's about time we move on to Village 5-star? Yeah, Village 5-star and Hub 3-star. I don't know exactly what hunts are going to be there. The urgents are Yangaruga in Village and Astalos in Hub, but I'm excited to see. I'm probably going to stick with just guild style, no arts for now. Excuse me. Coughed again there. Jeez. Probably going to stick with guild, no arts for now. That's just kind of how I'm enjoying this game the most. I like being able to take the basic weapon movesets and pair them against the monsters and see what kind of openings and strategies there are just using the basics. Adding really damaging moves or moves that modify the weapon mechanics or styles that let you dodge through everything just isn't what I'm looking for from this game. I'm looking for a nice big long Monster Hunter game where I can really learn the monster movesets and just enjoy myself in that way. So if I get bored of approaching the game that way, at some point I'll probably start doing arts and styles, but it may not be for a long time, I'll be honest. Don't want to be like string you guys along being like, oh, soon I'll use the other ones. It probably won't be soon, but maybe someday. I just like that guild style too much. Like I mentioned earlier, I probably will try my second Deviant soon. Not sure which one. I'm leaning towards Dread Queen Rathian, but I feel like it would be a shame to leave Lagombi and Arzuros, because those feel like they're maybe a better fit for this point in the game, so maybe it'll be Arzuros. Not sure what weapon I'll use for that yet, but maybe it'll be Arzuros. Moving into those next ranks, there will probably be quite a few new hunts and monsters to take on. I'm imagining that the game will continue to open up pretty dramatically, like just thinking in my mind about all of the flagship monsters that you get access to in this game. If they're all introduced in the next rank, that's like a ton of new hunts to do, and so I'm feeling pretty excited about the prospect of having so many new hunts to relearn and take on with all the weapons. It feels very exciting. Oh my gosh, I talked for half an hour. I think I'm going to end the yap, end of the check-in, with something I used to do back in Free Me Night. We're going to go ahead and throw on a gathering set. We're going to go on a honey run. Let's see, what map has the best honey spots? I used to do this in the 2nd gen jungle, but we don't have access to that map quite yet, so I think we're going to go on a deserted island honey run, and we'll call it there. Yeah, overall, I hope the videos have been fun to watch. I truthfully haven't made much progress on the early Faded 4 clears. I've been enjoying collecting things and just kind of progressing my save file, but I do still have my save backed up from before I progressed past those early Faded 4 encounters in Village, so I can still load that save up whenever I want and take those on. I may still do that, I just don't have much of a time frame on it. Nice to know that that's always possible for us. I hope you guys have overall been enjoying the videos. Yeah, I'm looking forward to pushing ever further into the game. Very enjoyable to having been playing Monster Hunter lately. Yeah, in the 2nd gen jungle, we had this ridiculous path mapped out, and these ridiculous pants. These pants in Free Me Night that were called the coffee pants that we wore and used on our gathering runs, and they looked very silly, sort of like these ones do, honestly. At least in terms of how these ones look a little goofy. But we'd run through the 2nd gen jungle, kind of curve around all the areas, grab some honey, and then run back to the village. And especially in Free Me Night, sometimes that was very necessary, where there wasn't an easy way to multiply items. I think there was like a maximum of 6 honey you could get from the farm every quest. So if you used 10 mega potions, you were already in the honey negative. So in between difficult challenges where you were using lots of mega potions or lots of ancient potions, it was good to go on a few honey runs, just like this. This honey run is a little simpler. You just go by area 2, area 3. Your honey's at maximum. You go back to base, the end. And that's that. Yeah, this is the gathering set I've been using most of the time. Gives Gathering +2, Outdoorsman, Pro Transporter, and Spirit's Whim, so it's a nice all-round gathering set. It'll be fun to make a set with Charm Chaser and sets like that later in the game. I know everyone gets charms by hunting Brachydios, but I'm probably still going to mine some of the time. That's just how I roll. Alright, truly a yap of a video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I'll be back soon. I'm probably going to go and do those urgents later tonight or another time soon. Not sure if I'll record those since, I don't know. Not every quest needs to be a first encounter recording. But like I said, I'll be back soon with some more Monster Hunter. Until then, I hope you guys have a nice night or a good day, whatever time it is where you guys are. Have a blessed week. Cheers, and bye-bye. Onwards to more.